Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing the end of the year book tag. Initially, I thought I was gonna film my October wrap up, but then every time I'm gonna do this video, I forget that this video is for the last quarter of the year. And when I see end of the year, to me, in my head, automatically, I just think December. So I'm like, you know, I need to film my end of the year. I need to get it done. I'm thinking I'm on time. And when I go and read the questions, what do you know? I'm late. Listen, my brain just doesn't function the same. I mean, I guess when you hear end of the year, everybody tends to think like December, I'm thinking. I don't know if it's just a me thing. But either way, even if I would have thought to film this video on time in October or the end of September to have it up for October, I would not have been able to do it at this time just because, or in this season, just because of the move and everything. So I guess we're right on track for everything that's been going on in my life. But either way, let's do the end of the year book tag. I'm so excited to be filming this. This is one of my favorite videos to film, so let's just jump right in. So the first question is,
are there any books you started this year that you need to finish?
Do you guys know me? If you know me, you know that my currently reading shelf on Goodreads always sits at 20 plus books. In October, I did that whole trying to narrow down my currently reading shelf. It didn't work quite as planned, but I did get it down to 19 books, although right now we're still sitting at 26, or we're sitting at 26 books again. I don't know how I get myself into these little situations, but I have learned that it's just how I am lately, and I need to just roll with it and accept it and embrace it. And my friend Carol sent me a meme the other day. I'll insert it here, or tagged me in a meme on stories on Instagram. And you know, it's truth. So we're just gonna roll with it. We are gonna roll with it. So yes, short answer being yes, there are 3 specifically that I want to finish before the end of the year that I have already started. You know, I'm gonna use the excuse of my life being just busy with the move and everything for these 3 books. But would things have been different had I not moved? I don't know. I guess we'll never know about that. The first book, I can't remember when I started. I want to say maybe September, was Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. Why did I say that so weird instead of just saying Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice? I was really enjoying this. I think I was listening to the audiobook for this, and I left off on page 89. So I've read maybe a quarter of the book, and I was really enjoying it. I just, you know, was having a hard time focusing on books with having to find a house and having to move, and you know, to my timeline just getting closer and closer and closer. So I think I put it down and never picked it back up, but I really want to finish this before the year is over. And then the next 2 books are both Malerman books that I have started and just have not finished. The first one being Goblin. Sorry, these covers are very reflective. The next one as well. This is Goblin. This is a limited print that they did a few years back. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. And then they decided to reprint it. I do have the new copy because, you know, hi, Marcella. And so this is just short stories all centered around the town of Goblin. Now, Josh Malerman is one of my favorite authors, so I don't know what my issue is with this one. I don't know if it's just that, number one, you guys know I'm not a huge fan of short story collections. There are a select few authors, or at this point, I want to say one author that really does it right. And whenever I see a book from him, I automatically jump on it. And he usually does short stories, and that is Alan Baxter. Alan Baxter has a collection of short stories called The Gulp. And it's almost similar to this in the sense that all the short stories in that book are centered around the town of the Gulp, and it's just a weird little seaside town. And I loved that book so much. And he's one of my favorite authors for short stories. Like I try to steer clear of short story collections. I mean, I have read a few. I have a few on my TBR that I want to read, but he is just an auto buy for me when it comes to short stories. And I don't know if it was just that I enjoyed that one so much that I'm just having a hard time continuing with this one, or if it's just the fact that it's short stories. Like I said, Josh Malerman is a favorite author for me, and I just love his writing in general, but I think just the short story format is throwing me off a little bit. But either way, I am enjoying it. I believe I am by the third story in Goblin. This is just one that I really want to finish before the year ends. And then the third one, as I said before, is also by Josh Malerman, and it's On This the Day of the Pig. Now, again, this is a reprinted work, and it was renamed Pearl. It just came out recently. I think it was last month that it came out with the name of Pearl. I'll input the new cover here. I think that this cover is much better than this cover here. But anyways, this is not about the cover. This is all centered around this pig whose name is Pearl, and he's an evil pig. It's a fun story. I was really enjoying it, but again, I started this book at a time where I just couldn't focus or dedicate time to sit down and physically read, and this is a book I want to physically read. I stopped on page 71, and again, this is just one of those books that I really want to finish. And I think out of the 3 books that I want to finish by the end of the year, this one is probably priority out of the 3. On to question number 2 says,
do you have any autumnal, I hate saying that word. Do you have any fall books to transition into the end of the year?
And being that I'm filming this late, yes, I did have a book and I have already read it, and that was Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I've never watched the movie. I knew about the story. I knew that it was a book. I never watched the movie. I was never interested in it. I mean, I do like the actors. I think this book came out a long time ago, and I don't know exactly when the movie came out. This was in 1995, so I'm thinking maybe by 1999 the movie was already out. In 1999, I was in high school, and I really wasn't into movies and stuff, if that makes sense. I was into other things in high school. Let's not talk about that. So I missed the train on Practical Magic, really. And in high school, I really wasn't reading. Like I said, I was into other things in high school and whatever. So I really wasn't into reading or watching movies at that time in my life. So the train just went on by without me. So finally, I've been really wanting to read this for a couple years now, and this was the year that I wanted it to happen. We moved more up north. I was feeling the fall vibes, and this is the book that transitioned me. Actually, I think I read this November 1st. This is the book that really just brought fall in for me. I loved this so much. I have since read book 2, and I'm actually in the middle of book 3 right now, and I loved this one. But book 2 made me bump this rating down to a 4-star, and I think that book 2 is going to be my favorite book. That book gave me all the feels, and I think it's the reason why I'm in a little bit of a slump right now. I mean, I've continued reading and I've been able to, pick up other books, but nothing has been able to hold my attention, and I think it was because of The Rules of Magic. What a book that was, but I really did enjoy this one as well, and I think it was the perfect book to And I think it was the perfect book to transition me into the fall season. We're gonna say fall because autumnal, my mouth just doesn't work that way. I'm telling you, there's just some words that I just can't say. Question number 3 is
there a new release you're still waiting for?
Yes, of course. Would we be book nerds if we weren't always like wanting or expecting new books? One in specific, I don't keep up a lot with new releases and stuff unless I go on NetGalley, and I'm really trying to stay off of NetGalley unless it's to like write a review or something, because I have so many books I have to review. So I'm not keeping up with new releases, but there is one that and I think I heard it through Chelsea Palmer's channel. Anyways, it's A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. Is it she or Shay Earnshaw? And that's the author of The Wicked Deep. I read The Wicked Deep a few years back and loved it so much. That book was so atmospheric. So when I saw that the author was coming out with a new book, I was instantly like drawn to it. And the synopsis just sounds right up my alley. This has to do with this woman that went missing. And the last time that this woman was seen, it was heard that she had gone into like this cult or like this community. I can't remember the name of the cult or the community right now. And after her entering or her mingling with this group of people, she just disappears. So they hire this man. He's like really good at finding missing people or missing persons, people. Missing. It's really early right now, so my brain is not on. Is it ever? So he goes on the hunt for her, on the search for her, and while he goes on the search for her, he runs into this group of people and is mingling with them, I guess, also trying to find her, and he goes missing as well. And Shay Earnshaw in The Wicked Deep, it was such an atmospheric read, like I was saying before. Now this is a completely different story and a completely different setting than The Wicked Deep. The Wicked Deep is like a witchy kind of book, and if you haven't read that book, that is a great book to read in the fall season. There's like this scene where it's like, there's a couple scenes in this apple orchard that is just, I felt like I was in the orchard itself. So I want to read this book because of that, because Shay Earnshaw has a way of making you be in the scene and feel everything that they are describing. So I'm really excited for that one, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see if it gives me that same vibe. Question number 4 is,
what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year?
Easy peasy. There's more than 3, but the top 3 that has come to mind first off is Empire of the Vampire. I wanted to read this upon release, but number 1, I didn't have it because I was trying not to buy books. My beautiful friend Megan on Instagram, she sent me this as a gift with like a couple other books, and I was so happy to have it. But because I was in the middle of a move and stuff, I just did not want to start it and then have to put it down midway, because this is a chunker of a book. I wanted to wait till I was settled in and give it my undivided attention, and then I decided to do a buddy read with my friend Joyce and Tali on this book. So we haven't started yet. Hopefully within the next week or this week we will be able to start it, but I am dying to read this. I haven't read synopsis. I don't want to know anything about it other than what the title is giving me. So this is one of the ones, this is priority for me. The second book is The Death of Jane Lawrence. I will put a picture up here because I have an ebook of this. This is just one of those books that I've been wanting to read as well as upon release, but I just could not. I've had the book sitting on my Kindle for a while, so I'm excited to read it. I mean, just the cover, I'm dying to read it. And then I started hearing all the reviews on people on BookTube and Bookstagram, and I was just like, yes, I need it. And then my friend Tali read it and she said it was magnificent, so really eager to read this one. And then the third book that I am itching to read is actually Kingdom of the Curse by Carrie Maniscalco. Carrie? I think that's her name. I read Kingdom of the Wicked a couple years back, or last year, whenever, I think it came out last year, and was infatuated with that book. That book made it to a favorite of mine in 2021. Just the writing, the story, the banter, the characters, everything. It's set in Italy, so hello. And that book was everything to me. And then when I found out that the second book was coming out, I was so ecstatic. But that book was, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it was going to come out in November, but then October came and it released, and it just caught me off guard because I'm like, okay, by the time that I move, I should be able to like focus on that book once I, settle down and stuff. But then it came out in October and I just couldn't pick it up. And then another reason why I haven't read it yet is because this is not the question of why you haven't read the book, but what books you want to read. But bear with me. I haven't read it yet because I want to reread book 1 because I just loved it that much, and I want to have the banter and the characters fresh in my mind to jump into book 2. If you have not read Kingdom of the Wicked, do so. It's a dark fantasy and it's just amazing. So I'm eager to read. I think out of the 3, Empire, all 3. I want to read all 3. They're all top priority, but I think Kingdom of the Curse takes number 1 spot in the books that I want to read before the year is over. Question number 4 is
there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year?
I don't think that I have a favorite book of the year yet. I feel like every time I go back and look at all the books that I've read this year, I have like just this blah feeling. So the answer is yes, because I don't think I have found my favorite book yet. In 2020, I knew what my favorite book was. Sitting here and telling you, damn, I don't think I have a favorite book yet, it's making me kind of sad. With that being said, yes, I know, I hope that there's a book that I can call my favorite book of the year, and I'm thinking it's gonna be one of the two. Either Empire of the Vampire or Kingdom of the Cursed. I think Kingdom of the Cursed is gonna take it. And usually I don't feel like that for a second book in a series. I'm not sure if it's gonna be a trilogy or what it's gonna be, but I usually don't tend to get excited about a second book for whatever reason, but I have a good feeling about Kingdom of the Cursed. And I've heard great things about this one, and this one is just giving me all the good vibes. So we'll see when I make my end of the year. Well, this is the end of the year, but when I make my favorite books of 2021, what book is going to be on there. Okay, and the last and final question is,
have you already started making reading plans for the new year?
Yes and no. I say yes and no because yes, I have sort of started making plans, and no, because I don't want to focus too much on goals and plans for next year. I love plans, I love lists, I love numbers, I love goals, but I feel like 2022 for me is going to be just all about fun, reading what I want and fun, and not focusing so much on wanting to review books or wanting to get my hands on a book before it releases. And I'm also thinking that I'm not going to give myself a number goal. I might, but I'm leading more towards, I don't think I am going to create a reading challenge on Goodreads. It pains me to say that because, like I said, I do love goals, and it would be the first year that I don't make a number goal for myself and the number of books that I want to read. But if I do create a number goal, it's gonna be where it totals up to 5 books a month. This year, so every year, every time I make my reading challenge goal on Goodreads, I up whatever I did the year before. It's like this little competition with myself. I'll up it 5 or 10 books than what I read the year before. And I think that if I up it, it's gonna end up at like 150, because I think I'm sitting at 135 right now. And this year it's just been like, I've been looking at that challenge and I've had to like make sure that I'm ahead of schedule. And I just don't want to read like that. I feel like it takes the fun out of it. So I don't want to be sitting there and having to like, oh my gosh, I gotta read. Oh my gosh, I'm falling behind. Or oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. And I feel like if I set myself to 5 books a month, I will be okay. And then again, I don't want to force myself to read. And I found myself doing that a lot this year because of that number goal. So I think if I do set a goal again, it's going to be the lowest it's been in a few years. It's probably going to be either under 100 or sitting at 100, because if I go under 100, I don't know, I'm running into a competition again in my mind. So I think that, and then also I want to read more of a variety of genres. I've always considered myself a very balanced, a very diverse reader within genres, and within the past 2 years I've heavily focused on horror because I wanted to. It's where my heart goes when I read. I mean, all these shelves here, with the exception of these 4 down here, they're all horror. So it's where my interest goes automatically. But I feel like I've been neglecting the other genres like fantasy, which I love so much, and sci-fi, which I also love so much. And yes, I know that there's horror within fantasy and sci-fi, but I want to just read it all. I want epic fantasy. I want just very scientific sci-fi or like spacey sci-fi. And yes, with horror elements, but without horror elements as well. Yeah, so I think those are like my 2 main goals for 2022 and my reading. So that's it, you guys. That is everything for this video. I love the end of the year book tag. I've been watching them consistently for the past few days because I love watching them and I love filming them. So let me know in the comment section down below your answers to some of these questions. Let me know what you're looking forward to in 2022 with your reading, what you're still wanting to read for the rest of this year. Do you have books that you still want to sneak in before the year is over? Do you have any winter reading plans? I do have a whole December TBR coming up. Here we are talking about not challenging myself or not, you know, forcing myself to read too much, but I have a tall December TBR because I want to read a lot of the books that I haven't been able to in years past. And I want to focus a lot on the books that I have that have December in the title. For some reason, I can't seem to read a book that has December on the title in any other month. So I've been neglecting those books years past. So I have that coming up, and those are some other books that I want to read before the year is over. So yeah, let me know if there's any books that you want to read before the year is over. Do you know what your favorite book of the year is so far? I mean, I hope you do. I'm just so sad that I don't. But either way, let's chat books in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.